Hey you guys, welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. So we're gonna make another cookie today. This one was the one my mom really wanted. And I don't know if you'd really call this a Christmas cookie, but we eat it at Christmas because we don't make a ton of cookies throughout the rest of the year. So we're gonna make jam shortbread bars. This recipe is going to make a 9x13 of jam shortbread bars. We're going to use homemade strawberry jam, but you can absolutely use store-bought jam if you want. And it calls for a lot of butter. So I have 4 sticks of butter here, which is 2 cups. And I've let these soften for several hours here on the counter. They're nice and soft and room temperature, and we're going to get these creamed up. I was actually looking at my list of goodies that I need to make for the holidays and realizing that all of the cookies are shortbread in some fashion, which I guess we just like buttery shortbread goodness. I don't know, but let's get this butter creaming. Our butter is all nice and fluffy and whipped and creamy. And so now we're going to add our powdered sugar. We need 1.25 cups of powdered sugar for this recipe. If you happen to be one of my regular watchers, you may be looking at these Christmas recipes and thinking, she's not using coconut sugar like normal. That's true, because most of this stuff will not be eaten by me, but by family who doesn't need the coconut sugar. And so we do things a little bit differently at the holidays. Let's get our powdered sugar all mixed in and try not to make too big a cloud. It's snow, right? It's just holiday decoration. Gonna scrape this bowl down, make sure we get all that powdered sugar. I find powdered sugar really likes to stick in the bottom of this bowl. So when I'm working with it, I gotta really get in there. So the next thing we need to do is add some vanilla. We're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Generous with the vanilla. And then the thing that is my favorite that sets this apart is the almond extract. I love almond extract in these cookies. I just think they add something, it adds something extra. I don't know. It just smells so good. If you don't know, almond extract has a little bit of like a cherry flavor to it, an aroma. I think they're actually related, but we are going to add a teaspoon of almond extract. And I did measure this because it would be easy to go overboard with the almond extract. So we're going to get that mixed in before we start mixing our flour in. And I can actually see this extract, some of it hanging out down in the bottom. So we're going to make sure we stir it in. You guys will have to tell me what some of your favorite holiday treats are that your family makes. There we go. Okay, so I went ahead and weighed out my flour. I say weighed out, I measured it out. I have 4.5 cups of my Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 baking mix here. And we are going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and mix that in. And then we want to mix our flour in just about a cup at a time, just gradually. And we're looking for it to just come together. I like to cream my butter with my paddle or with my whisk attachment, but I meant to switch over to my paddle attachment after that and I forgot. We'll make it work. But my paddle would certainly have been easier to get the dough out of. So here's our shortbread dough, guys. Now that our shortbread dough is all mixed up, we are gonna put about half of it in the bottom of our 9x13. You can line this with parchment paper. If you watched my last cookie video, the cranberry and orange shortbread, I ran out of parchment paper and I haven't had a chance to get any more yet. It might take a little bit of extra work, but nothing so severe that I needed to go run across town and get parchment paper. So I am just going to push this out into a nice even layer here in my pan. It smells so good with that vanilla extract and the almond extract. I may add a little bit more of my dough into the base here. I think this is just a preference issue, but I prefer the base to be a little bit thicker and the crumbly bit on top to not be quite as thick. So I don't mind borrowing from the extra to get the base as thick as I would like it to be. Do you guys like to listen to Christmas music when you do your holiday baking? This is the first year that I've had this YouTube channel, and I thought I'd show you guys my family treats and things, but it's a little bit weird not having the Christmas music playing because YouTube and their copyright rules. You'll have to tell me some of your favorite Christmas music. One of my favorites is this album from an artist named Andrew Peterson. It's called Behold the Lamb of God. And it is just the greatest thing to put you in the Christmas spirit, at least in my opinion. I think we're good. So this is gonna go in the oven now for about 20 minutes. And I'm gonna get the rest of this wrapped up in some cellophane and put it in the fridge, and it'll firm up a little bit so we can put our crumbly bits on top after we put our jam on. Get the rest of this dough into the fridge. I do find it to be a little bit extra crumbly with the gluten-free flour, and shortbread's pretty crumbly anyway. So just a little bit. But these cookies, you could serve them to anybody and they would not know that they were gluten-free. All those yummy flavors of the vanilla and almond extract and the strawberry jam. And you could use whatever flavor jam you want. I think the recipes I actually started with, because I've kind of merged a couple recipes over the years here, they both called for raspberry jam, but My mom does not like raspberries. She never has. So we will not be using raspberry jam for her on a cookie that she requested. I'm being all gentle with this, like I'm gonna roll them out or something. It's gonna be crumble on top. I just need it wrapped up so it doesn't dry out. All right, so I'm gonna meet you guys back here once the other cookie dough, the stuff that's in our pan, comes out of the oven. Our base layer of shortbread just came out of the oven. And I think it's probably kind of hard to see on the camera, but just around the very edges, it started to turn color, just a little bit golden. So now I've turned the oven up to 375 and we're gonna get our jam on. Oh man, this jam smells like summer. I'm always so excited when I open it. Some people don't like to have texture in the jam on their shortbread cookies. So if you're one of those people and you're buying your jam, just buy a smooth jam, or I think sometimes they're called fruit spreads. But I like having the little bits of strawberry all through here. So we just want to get this all nice and spread out. I like to make my jam without pectin, and this was actually the first time I'd ever made strawberry jam, and I didn't get it quite as thick as it should have been. I did all of the tests you do. I looked at the temperature. I looked at, what is it? There's a plate test that you do where you put a plate in the freezer so it's nice and cold, and then you put some jam on the plate and let it sit and see if you can run your finger through it. And I thought I had that pretty good, but my jam was still a little bit runny. So this is actually a great way to use it. It's still really good on a biscuit or something else like that, but it's a little bit runnier than if you were buying jam at the store. So it's nice as an ingredient here. This recipe calls for 16 ounces of jam. I use 2 jelly jars, so those are half pints. And now that our jam's all spread out, we're gonna do the rest of our cookie dough. And this, we're just doing crumbly bits all over the top. This is maybe the simplest thing you could do cookie baking wise. Big bits, little bits, just however you want to do it. These are a nice rustic cookie. You guys will probably notice I'm not making any like sugar cookies that you cut out, and I just am not very skilled at that. I've tried sugar cookies before. My mom had a cookie recipe that was candy canes. You dyed part of the dough red, and then you rolled them into logs, I guess, and you twisted them together and shaped them like a candy cane. And goodness, you guys, mine spread out everywhere. They were just not pretty. And while I think those kind of things are beautiful, they're not really my favorite cookies in the first place. So I just haven't felt the need to hone my skills in making them. Rubbing that dough between my fingers to break it up heats up that almond extract, and you can smell it. So good. This is ready to go back in the oven at 375 for another 15 minutes. Oh, these look fantastic. So you can see they're just a little bit golden brown on top. Now I'm going to put these here on a cooling rack and let them cool completely. And we'll come back once they have cooled and slice them up and give them a try. So our cookies are all cooled and I've sliced them up. Some of them are still in the tray. Some of them are on this Christmas plate. You can see they're really lovely. I will tell you, don't be me. Go get the parchment paper if you don't have any, because especially in this instance with my slightly runny jam, it definitely glued around the edges. And so my edge pieces are kind of hard to get out. And they've ended up a little more crumbly than I would like. They still taste fantastic. They're just not the prettiest thing. So let's see, I already took a bite of this one, but you can kind of see it is extra fragile after trying to pry it out of there where it was glued to the side. So I'm just gonna eat this little bite right here. Doesn't matter that they're kind of crumbly on those edge pieces. They still taste fantastic. We just got to be a little bit careful about the crumbs. So if you guys are looking for a jammy shortbread cookie, this one works great, gluten-free, and we're big fans. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm so glad you were here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.